Welcome to Lit with Ernest, the show where we cut through the noise and get to the heart of what makes great writers tick. Lincoln's story is one of humble beginnings and hard-won success. Born in 1809 in a log cabin in Kentucky, he grew up with very little formal education, but a love of reading and learning that would stay with him throughout his life. As a young man, he worked as a store clerk, a surveyor, and eventually a lawyer before entering politics and becoming one of the most influential leaders in American history. But Lincoln's writing career began long before he became president. He was a prolific writer, and his early work includes poems, stories, and even a humorous piece called The Chronicles of Reuben, which showcases his wit and satire. As he entered politics, his writing took on a more serious tone, and he began to craft speeches and essays that would become some of the most iconic in American history. One of Lincoln's most famous speeches, the Gettysburg Address, is a masterclass in concise and powerful writing. Delivered during the Civil War, it redefined the purpose of the conflict and honored the soldiers who had died at Gettysburg. The speech is a beautiful example of Lincoln's ability to distill complex ideas into simple yet profound language. Lincoln's writing was not just about grand ideas, however. He was also a master of storytelling, and his speeches often included anecdotes and examples that made complex issues more relatable and accessible to his audience. This kind of storytelling helped Lincoln connect with his listeners on an emotional level and made his messages more memorable and impactful. As we explore Lincoln's literary contributions, it's also important to consider the historical context in which he was writing. The Civil War was a time of great upheaval and division in America, and Lincoln's words were a beacon of hope and unity during a time when the country was torn apart by slavery and conflict. His writing challenged the status quo and pushed Americans to think about their values and principles in new ways. Lincoln's legacy is enormous, and his influence can be seen in writers and politicians across the spectrum. He has inspired generations of leaders, from Martin Luther King Jr. His commitment to equality, justice, and human dignity has made him a hero to many, and his writing remains a powerful reminder of the importance of empathy, compassion, and shared values. In terms of modern relevance, Lincoln's work is more important than ever. We're living in a time when division and polarization seem to be tearing us apart, and Lincoln's writing reminds us of the importance of listening to each other and finding common ground. His words are a call to action, urging us to work towards a more perfect union where all people are treated with dignity and respect. He was a product of his time, and his views on slavery and race were complex and often contradictory. However, it's also clear that he was a man who evolved and grew over time, and whose commitment to justice and equality only deepened as he navigated the complexities of leadership. In conclusion, Abraham Lincoln was a writer, a thinker, and a true original. His work is like a mountain stream. It's clear, it's simple, and it's powerful. And if you listen closely, you can still hear the echoes of his voice today, calling us to be better versions of ourselves. That's all for today's Lit with Ernest. Like this episode if it hit true. Share it if you respect honest talk about books. Subscribe because we'll do this again. This is Ernest, signing off.